yeah. Well, you say it was in school, and yeah, other people that you meet in the market, because I mean it's basically the area where you'd see everybody from every school. You know,
Mm.
the the girls from Wickham Collegiate would be at one tree, the Carter students would be at another tree, and then they'd be like our tree as well, and then they'd be like a communal tree, like because it was one, two, three, maybe four trees. So yeah, it was like yeah, it was pretty much like a strip, an island of road where, an island of pavement actually, where kids just hang out and wait for the transport, and then after school they'll hang out or just go to the library or whatever. Well, not exactly, because what happened was eventually, I guess we graduated. I graduated high school, but I recognized some people at my first poetry event, which was organized by UNZ, the otherness, as she goes by. And pretty much what she did was she got permission to use the Tatum Art Gallery lecture theater upstairs. And then at that time, she was actually in Maritzburg doing her internship. Like she's like she does like media stuff, so she was doing her internship at Radio Maritzburg, and then like she invited me a couple of times to go on the radio show, and I did my first live freestyle. Um, Actually, it was inspired by also watching Baby Boy Styles. Like he was just going on, and I'm like, what? And that was around about the time when he had also just won a freestyle competition on YFM, which was quite a big deal, for all of us in Maritzburg. We were like, whoa. Yeah, he's a Maritzburg rapper, Baby Boy
Okay.
Styles.
Mm.
Went to Carter as well, I have to say. Yeah, so pretty much, yeah, she'd invite me, him on the show, and then I guess she pretty much just used the platform of a radio show to organize like the first poetry orientated, like, well, yeah, it was like a little mini society. It was at first it didn't have a name, and the host, I need to mention the host, Tepan. um, he would just come through and just read these quotations and whatnot. And but it was so informative for me, like never having been to anything like that. Um, so that by the time that we all just needed to put our heads together and come up with a name for it, I remember I just bought like a Black Star CD. I missed school with my friend. We took a taxi, went to Premiere, bought the CD, $250. Mind you, that's a lot of money, even to this day. And Black Star had the song KOSS, or KOS, Knowledge Yourself. So pretty much the whole time I was like, man, this society, this poetry thing is so informative. So I was like, man, we should call it Knowledge Yourself Sessions. So it was like KOSS. So pretty much that's how the name came about. And then we also needed a name to call ourselves. And we were like, KOSS, Knowledge Yourself Society. So yeah, we're Knowledge Yourself Society with hosting Knowledge Yourself sessions. And yeah, so it pretty much grew. At first, it was just about poetry and just like discussions, because the thing would happen for like on a Saturday afternoon. It would happen. People would listen to poetry, recite, and so on and so forth. And then we'd have a little discussion at the end. You know, I remember the first one, the very first one. I remember uh, I didn't know the guys at the time. My boy Abs, I didn't know him. I was like, who the hell is this? Who the hell is this arrogant? You know? And he was rolling with this dude named Sans, also my boy now, and this dude Sfiso. He was. They. I didn't know also that they were actually producers and rappers. You know, because things were still very, very kind of timid. This is also like 2002. You know, towards the end of the year. Yeah. It wasn't exactly through the poetry sessions. It was more through like word of mouth because with the poetry sessions happening in town, those guys didn't really come to town. Well, I didn't really see them. I think they'd be mostly in Scottsville because that's like where their producer and whatever. They were called Rhyming Reason, and their names were Brian Playmaker, Milo, and Baby Boy Styles. And I think they also had a feature from a guy named Nash, who was between Maritzburg and Durban, as I discovered later. Yeah, and but like my high school crew, just to reiterate, was LH Coalition. That was like a group that I was in with Raw Kid as well, who is like now currently my DJ partner. And yeah, yeah. So that was LH Coalition, and then 033 Rage. That we like have our own. We all had our like own separate little groups as well. There was GIFT. There was LV Crew from our big LH Coalition, our high school rap group, and then there were these young guys who came through. I forgot what they were called. I'm sorry. I don't know. But they had. Wait, I'm sorry. I have to do this. But they had this song, and they were like, Z-Bone, G-Bone, Z-Bone.
What,
Oh, man.
Z-Bone, G-Bone?
Z-Bone, G-Bone, Z-Dog, G-Dog, Dog. Dog, all dog. It was wild times. It was early days, but I mean, if ever this was an opportunity to shout someone out, which I don't think it is, but I'd have to say, big ups to the guy who actually got us all together, Ujam. He actually was a guitarist for the Arrows.
What's his like name?
Ubongani.
He goes by the name Jam.
At the time, he called himself Jam Ludacris. That was before we even knew that there was a rapper named Ludacris, because this was like 2001. I don't think we'd heard anything on a mainstream level in South Africa as yet from Ludacris. So we just called him Jam pretty much from that point when he found that out and he told us that there's a rapper named Ludacris. So we just called him Jam. But his name is Ubongani Zon. Bongani Zondo. Zondi. Bongani Zondi. Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, it was pretty cool. Like, then it was like, oh, the next time I saw him in Durban, he's like, yo, I'm with this band, and it's called the Arrows, and wow, nice. Yeah. I didn't know what the hell the Arrows is or was, but they actually, yeah, never mind. But yeah, I'm sure whomever might see this might know that. The other high schools where I think they also had a bit of activity in terms of hip hop was Alexandra High School. Yeah, that's actually where we did our first show. It was a talent show, talent contest, and then that's when I actually got on stage for the first time properly and actually recited something that I had written down by myself with other people. I mean, with other people performing it, but like, recalling something, and it was like in front of people. You see, what happened was, there's in between 2002, I also, like, personally, I was in school and whatever, and blah blah blah. But in between 2002 and 2004, I had already mentioned Enzi. She actually, from Maritzburg, she moved and then she started working in Cape Town for like a TV channel, and then she gave me a shout just out of the blue one time. Like, we keep in touch, but then she gave me a call and she's like, "Listen, there are these people. They're looking for people to come to Cape Town for an advert, and it's for like some magazine." And then gave me a call. Went to Cape Town. They booked our flights. We were there in for a day. Paid us. It was really dope because at that time as well, it was also a transitional period, I'd say, also in South Africa. The people in the ad, basically, they just put us in a recording studio. It was Double HP. It was Lebo Mashile. It was this dude named Debza, Ammunition, and then a Cape Town artist by the name of Biscuit, and then a dude from Durban as well named, I call him Mumbizo, and Baby Boy Styles as well from Maritzburg, because, we had been on her radio show, so I guess maybe she just kept us in her mind, because we stuck out, I don't know. But yeah, she hollered at the both of us, and yeah. So in between that time, like 2002, 2003 to 2004, for me, what happened was, after doing that ad, I had very bad reception at home. It was only on Metro, this ad, that I could hear it. So I never quite got Radio Metro. And then, like, my friend eventually recorded it for me. And I heard it, and I'm like, oh, snap. Oh, it's in between Tebow Touch's show. I heard myself rapping on radio. I'm like, what? So what happened was, once again, I think I got a bit disillusioned in the sense that I was like, okay, now everything's going to happen. So, unfortunately, life is kind of paradoxical and ironic like that, where